Won't you please come join me for some midnight therapy?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very, very, very special episode of Midnight Therapy. So special, I'm flustered here. Your very own advertisement sponsor of this show is sitting right next to me here. And I feel like it's fitting that he could do his own plug today. This is Mike the Barber. We have to get right into this here. The owner of Three Saints Barbershop. This was a long anticipated reveal, and this is also the third guest on the show. It's going to be a little bit different than my fiance with the cups. I feel like we're going to get into a little bit different of, topics than Stanley's, even though you do have one.
This is the dollar store version.
Yeah,
that's Dollar Tree.
It
was a $1.20 tree.
Staniel, something. But this is Mike the Barber, the owner of Three Saints Barbershop, and we are going to interview, debate, talk, and have a good time with you for the next 20 to 85 minutes.
Thank you very much, Kat Matthews. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on your show. And as you indicated, I am the owner-operator and part of the Three Saints Barbershop and Shave Parlor, conveniently located in the heart of historic downtown Jessup, Pennsylvania.
See, that's better than I could have ever done.
Nonsense. You've done me proud.
I try my best. You are a very skilled barber. You are a man of many talents. You wear many hats. We're going to get into some of those today. He has a great mustache. This is showing a lot of my character. I, pride myself in having a very good mustache. And I bring people on the show, and I try to look pretty good, but I'm getting shown up today with mustaches. He has, have you won any mustache contests with that bad boy?
No, but to be fair, I haven't entered any. I have judged a few and have prepped a few individuals for national beard and mustache competitions. I've had several first place winners, which it's not a contest for the barber. It's a contest for the individual growing and sculpting the beard. But at the event, there are some gentlemen who want to get tuned up and last minute details done. The mustache actually has become part of our brand. Sometime back in 2008, I needed a business card and I wanted something that was catchy, and
it's a free country. You want to take that? You could take the call if you need to.
It's my watch, and I don't know how to turn it off. Can we throw that in the other room?
Yeah, that's fine. These things happen.
So I needed an interesting mustache, and my first design was like a mirror with a mustache on it. So when you looked at it, you saw yourself in the mirror wearing the mustache, but the mirror wasn't reflective enough. And then I designed this one. It's a clear. I don't know if it shows. It's a clear version. It's a card with my mustache. And on there is written our business information. So even if you don't have a mustache, you can wear a mustache. And we came in, I think, second place in the country on Kitsch or some website that was talking about creative cards. So that's something we're proud of. And now I almost can't shave the mustache.
Yeah, you entered the league of Dr. Phil, Hulk Hogan, Steve Harvey, like where if you were to get rid of it, who are you?
Steve Harvey would look like an otter without his mustache. Dr. Phil, what is wrong with you?
I hate you. You're stupid. Give me $400. Do you remember that video?
No.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It was like an edit, but he said all those things. He did. And it was out of context. I think he was quoting dysfunctional people. Catch me outside. How about that?
But yeah, Three Saints Barbershop, located right here in Jessup.
Yes, this is a paid advertisement. So yeah, let's just get into this here. Before we do, I changed the Grotesque Holiday Portrait Series painting to the Nutcracker because I think it resembles our friend Mike here just a bit. The mustache is the same.
And it is no Nutcracker November. Just a reminder for everybody that's...
what does that mean?
I don't know.
Why do people say that?
It's no Nut November.
What is that?
I don't know who invented that.
Is that like no shave November?
Aren't there people...
What's nut? Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Can we Google that? What is nut? I wonder how that definition would show up.
Well, anywho, rest in peace, Peanut the squirrel.
God, yes. And nobody talks about Fred.
Yeah, because I think he got a little hostile. He bit the one.
So you're saying Fred had it coming?
He
deserved to be beheaded, Fred.
There's always a sidekick. Like it's Batman and Robin. Like you kind of just say, "Oh, here comes Batman," even though Robin's right there.
Robin sucked. Did anyone like Robin?
That's the thing. Like
he was. I
feel like the raccoon is kind of like that.
I mean, who are some other sidekicks? Any other superheroes?
Kamala Harris. Let me think.
She had a sidekick, right?
Tim Walz.
Tim Walz was her sidekick, but he
lost his own county. I just wanted to say that.
God bless him.
I wish him well.
He tried so hard. Where's he been? I haven't seen or heard from Mr. Walz.
He went back.
Is it Waltz or Walz?
I think it's Walz.
To the window, to the walls. Should have been their campaign song.
It would have been funny. He would have been a little more likable.
They had Cardi B, they had Bruce Springsteen, but if they had the guy that sang to the window, to the walls, perhaps they would have won the election.
They didn't think.
They did not.
Nobody wants to hear Springsteen give another sermon. And I'm a huge fan, but when you had your 5th hair transplant and you're near 80 and you are getting paid to do a political speech at your concert, it's not right, people, they don't even like when you talk normally at a concert. When you're like, I wrote this song about, it's like, shut up.
Do you think he got paid?
He got paid.
Do you think he got paid yet?
Oh, he got paid that day because he knew it was iffy.
Because there are some bills outstanding. I just read today that Oprah is waiting to be paid. Now, the Kamala campaign spent, I believe, $1 billion on this campaign.
That's a lot.
She did not win. I think they really expected her to win. She's now, I think, $20 million in debt.
That's okay.
To her performers and entertainers, and Oprah's one of them who has her hand out. She is owed $1 million, and I don't know. I don't know if she's going to be able to pay out all these debts.
Yeah. What if?
So this was I don't know if this campaign, who's handling this budget, because
it's you and me. Our tax money probably paid for the Beyonce Freedom license to use that Freedom song. I don't know, like, where do people get money? Because Joe Biden, I don't know, is the president, so he wasn't fronting the bill with U.S. taxpayer money, but she was kind of on her own. I don't know the rules there.
There's funds raised through the campaign, and I'm not going to pretend I'm a political expert or know how that machine works.
Yeah,
but some of her, we'll say, non-fans, I don't want to say enemies, but some of her opposition are saying she had a $1 billion budget that they raised.
Yeah.
And she's now $20 million in debt that I don't know if she has. Is this somebody who could have handled the national budget?
Yeah, if you can't, like, if you're planning a wedding and you can't pay the DJ, maybe the wedding is going to be, maybe your marriage is going to be bad.
So as somebody who used to officiate weddings, I've seen.
Keep a track of his career here. He said mustache judge, wedding. This is
a mustache judge for 1 week.
He was a mustache judge. He was a minister. He's a barber. It's going to get bigger. He's done a lot of things.
I have over 100 weddings under my belt, but I've seen some couples that really struggle to pay the venue at the end of the night, and the bartender and the DJ. They're tearing open envelopes, hoping there's cash and not checks to pay out. And I don't know if that's what Kamala might have expected if she won. Were there people putting envelopes in her box on the night that Donald would have conceded to a lost election? I don't know, but she's in a little debt right now. And I heard the Obamas have not been in touch with her since the campaign. And I don't know if they're upset with her or if they're just exhausted because they were stumping for her pretty heavily. And they worked hard.
It feels like a mob movie where it's like, your man didn't deliver. It's time to pay your debt. Like, it's like she should have won and she didn't. It's like, now it's time to pay. Like I feel like people in politics eat their own.
We had a very inflated expectation of her victory in this.
Yeah.
And it has been said again by the people, and we're going to go both sides. I'm putting myself dead center here in the middle because I don't want to be biased on one side or the other. So I'll shit on Trump, I'll shit on her, I'll praise her, and talk about the good things I think he might have.
Yeah, we are not endorsing or we're not happy or sad about anything here on this show. Just as a little disclaimer,
we're not happy about anything in general.
Yeah, there's not much to be happy about, and if you're paying attention, you're very, very humbled,
But as I was saying, there was this artificial manufactured energy around her. And well, look, to be fair,
her policies were joy.
She only had a few months.
And hope.
She only had a few months to put this together. Donald's been campaigning since 2015.
Since he was
nonstop.
30 years old, he's been public eye.
They yeeted out Joe Biden, our Democratic choice.
Yeah.
40 million people selected him, and he just apparently wasn't up to the task. Which,
in the final hour, though, it was like almost the fourth. It was well into the fourth quarter,
and everyone was saying he wasn't ready.
No, not everybody.
Well,
I heard them say that,
and they argued, saying, "No, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine."
His age was his superpower. He's the most competent man. He's running around the White House. Remember all that?
Yeah,
yeah. And then
he's all nimbly bimbly about the White House.
Yeah, if they didn't lie, there could have been like a primary.
Did they lie?
Like, I mean, if they didn't exaggerate his mental competency and things like that, there could have been a primary where we voted on a Democratic candidate to run against Trump. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when he did that debate with Donald Trump, and it became very evident that he was struggling. And I mean, I'm sure at one time he was a brilliant politician.
He was.
But at that time, they realized maybe he's not the candidate. So they had to act quick. They grabbed her. They threw her in there. So now they had to manufacture this energy around her. Joe Biden, being a 50-year politician, knew how to create that and build a following, and he had a great following. He won the 2020 election, after all. And they put all this stuff around her, and I just don't think it was enough.
Now, I get all that, and I think the people watching get all that. But my question is, I predicted that Kamala Harris would have gotten probably about the same amount of votes as Joe Biden got, if not more, because of her giant reach to the female voters. I thought she would get some women that never vote to vote, and the number would have been around the 81 million Biden got.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like 10 or 11 or 12 million less. What do you think of that? Do you think 12 million people did not vote for Kamala that did vote for Biden? Or were those 12 million votes that Biden had more than Kamala not real?
Again, I'm not going to pretend I'm a political analyst. I'm not. This is just a barber's.
And we're credible here. I'm a country musician. He's a barber. You should believe us.
Yes, and
we are the end of all
was a wedding officiant and a hot air balloon chaser back in what I like to call the day.
Balloon chasers. Add that. That's number 4.
But the maps and the statistics clearly show that a lot of people flipped. A lot of people that voted blue in the 2020 election, for whatever reason, we're now voting red. And I see a lot of younger people. There were on the news, I've seen fraternities cheering, military academies with young cadets. The announcement came through. They were woken up at 3 a.m, and the announcement was made, and you could hear the cheers throughout the dormitory halls in the barracks where the cadets were staying. So young military was pretty pumped.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, you have some people who are not doing well right now.
I know. I brought it up a little.
Women are shaving their heads in protest.
Brittany did that.
They're hosting their own version of No Nut
Forever.
No Nut Forever.
No Nut for years, I saw.
They have a bracelet now, and I believe a tattoo of a star that shows, that they are an ally to others who might be struggling. And I guess there's people doing harm to themselves over this election.
That's not good.
And we were talking about the energy behind Kamala. And then you had the energy behind Trump. And I've said to people in the past, there was an energy behind him that I've not seen. I'm 56. I've not seen behind any presidential candidate before, Democrat, Republican, or otherwise. Just filling arenas nonstop. Just an excitement about him. And for who knows what reason, but it was there. And when he won, the handful of people, and several people, I'm more than a handful, there's tons of people who are so upset about this. They're doing self-harm to themselves. They're not doing well. So in the same sense that I have not seen an energy behind Donald Trump like I have before, I haven't seen people as a whole and entire demographics wanting to do self-harm to themselves. And then there's another demographic that wants to leave the country. They're fed up, and they said, I don't want to live in this country anymore. And I'll tell you what, no matter who's president, whether it was Kamala, Joe Biden, if Walz got to be president, or J.D. Vance, it's still the greatest country in the world. Do you not see the people putting themselves in harm's way to get into this country?
Yeah.
During the supposed horrible Biden years where things were so terrible here, or the horrible Trump years when things were so terrible here, they were still smuggling themselves in trucks and in barrels and in lumber trucks to come over and to get in this country for a shot at a better life. So
to your point, just have to add in this, it's like Texas Roadhouse. It's always always packed, and it's
cinnamon butter.
You know what I'm saying? It's exactly like it's packed, and the service sucks a little, but you're still going. It's still the best. It's better than TGIF. It's better than Uno. Who the hell's keeping Red Robin in business?
I'll tell you what, Texas Roadhouse is my favorite corporate restaurant.
Because it's America. It's the America of corporate restaurants.
It's not my favorite steak place, but it's my favorite corporate restaurant.
Okay, well, it's America. Even though it's crowded and the prices are up and it's a little not as what it was, you're still going there no matter what. You're still going to wait 3 hours for that chili.
Want to hear a conspiracy theory?
Yes.
I invented it the last time I was at Texas Roadhouse.
Okay.
The one in Dixon City. If you sit at the bar,
yes,
and you look up at the ceiling, there's the giant 5-pointed star.
Yes.
Each point of the star points to a wall in the bar. Or an animal, a trophy animal hung on the wall, a caribou, a wild boar. Each one of them is a cloven-hooved beast. No. Do you think that there's some sort of Texas
ritual house,
tantric or satanic thing going on at Texas Roadhouse? And I mentioned it to one of the manager owners up there, and he had never noticed it.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. He knew. He goes, "How did that guy know?
How did he know? He broke the code."
Know that? I bet you they do rituals. That's what makes me keep coming back.
That's what makes the steak so delicious.
It's so evil.
It's human.
We're going to get into more conspiracies later.
What?
I want to close, or at least add something to that argument. On the last episode, I was talking about some of the, I don't know, Trump derangement syndrome type things you're seeing of people going completely ballistic. Usually, mostly, honestly, just women on social media. I've seen it. And I feel bad for them. But let me clarify, I have never seen people react this negatively or manically to an election result. And I was kind of calling it out the other day. And I forgot to mention it after the fact, but let me just say, I think people freaking out on social media is still a little bit better than an insurrection. So
I don't know how that even compares.
The right freaked out.
Are you comparing a mental breakdown to an insurrection?
See, I was like, how are people acting this way? And I completely forgot. Oh, last election, the other side lost, and they didn't freak out on their phone. They stormed the Capitol. So I'm sorry for not bringing that up. It's not like, oh, how can you get so mad at your phone? No, I get it. Now we all freak out our own way.
Now I see where you're going with that.
We all freak out in our own way. You know? So no judgment.
It's
at least you didn't storm the Capitol.
When you put that out on social media, I mean, it's one thing to have your own time by yourself, and you might be a little upset about things, and the tears might fall. But when you put yourself on your social media, that's a next level of upset.
I know.
upset, and it, it speaks volumes to the I hope these people can find their peace, and again, this I would say this about either side.
Right now.
It's kind of sad to see people that broken up about things. What they're saying versus what will actually happen. I hope what
Yeah.
those people are saying, it sounds like end of times.
They are afraid of a fabricated narrative that was sold to them. I don't think the things they are freaking out about were ever said or will happen.
I don't know.
I really don't.
I don't know. What was Donald Trump's population count on that vote? How many million?
He
Was
got
it 68 million?
This one?
Yeah.
I think he got about 70.
So let's just say 69. 69 million people. I don't know if 69 people would have voted for him. Do 69 people want what some of the people in the Democrat Party are saying is going to happen?
No.
Because I know some Republicans, and I know they don't want. I don't know how to say that. Like I can't see that happening in this country. I can't see 69 million people voting for that. It was something misunderstood.
I think it was the narrative they sold so that you wouldn't vote for Trump. I don't think Trump himself ever said those things. I think it was, if Trump wins, this is what's going to happen. And it scared the shit out of people, especially women, because that's a lot of the targeted fear mongering was targeted to women, I think, specifically about their rights, their reproductive rights, abortion, all those issues. And I think,
and they're legitimate.
They are legitimate
concerns for the women.
Now, Trump did say,
Do you have a vagina?
I don't.
Neither do I, so I can't comment on that.
But
I will say they are legitimate concerns.
They are legitimate concerns. I will say that Trump did say on record many times he is against and will always oppose a federal abortion ban. If he doesn't follow through with that, then there's checks and balances and people could riot and protest accordingly. But I do think he will be a man of his word on that. Now, as far as what anyone else has said, influencers, The View, late night comics, pundits online or on mainstream media, they said a lot of different stuff. And if you were watching that, I could see how you are petrified right now. But I don't think it has to get that bad yet. I don't know if you have to worry that much yet. I think things are going to be okay. Do you feel like things are kind of okay? Like the future looks a little optimistic?
I think, again, like I said, I have complete trust in my government. I had complete trust last election, the election before, and so on and so forth.
You trust the government?
As long as I'm voting. I don't know how many years that is. I can't math right now. 56 to 18. But I took part in a lot of elections. There were some I was thrilled about, and there were some that I was not so thrilled about. But even my least favorite presidents, dude, we're still here. We're still
Texas
fine.
Roadhouse.
The Texas Roadhouse still delivers a great ribeye.
So I'm saying, like, oh, this was a little overdone.
Are they a sponsor?
They're not, but you could be. I want Aldi, and I would like them as well. But I get what you're saying. The
stock market's surging, by the way. I don't know if that's a result of what happened last Tuesday. Are you into cryptocurrency?
I'm into cryptocurrency, sort of like how people are into, I don't know, trying something once in a while, like how I eat a little Debbie cake. like I'm not really
I'm into crypto like people are into S&M. It's just you dip a toe in the water.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not for me.
Like if you've been in a hot tub, but you don't own a hot tub, it's like I'm into hot tubs, but that's how I'm into crypto. Yeah. I don't have one, but I like them. Like I have a little bit.
I don't even understand crypto. There's nothing backing it. It's just out there.
It's not real. It's Chuck E. Cheese machine. Like you put the coin in, you win the tickets, and then you buy something.
Yeah, but what can you buy? Can you buy stuff with
You could buy more crypto.
All right.
With crypto. And then you could look at it on the screen. You go, I have 5 million sheep. Which I do. I have 10 million Shiba Inu.
You're a Shiba-naire.
I'm a Shiba-naire. And when that goes to the moon, when Elon Musk becomes the Vader to Trump's Palpatine, and we have 5 planets in the in America empire, I will be rich. Whoa!
Dogecoin, by the way.
That I just saw 6 figures.
Well, no, that's it's up to 36 cents.
You have 6 figures in your account right now.
No, I don't.
I saw.
That's worth $36. What I
Okay.
have there.
Well,
I'm not
6
into
figures.
cryptocurrency. I can't even afford one Bitcoin or even a piece. Bitcoin since last Tuesday went up 20,000.
Might have something to do with Musk.
20,000. Dogecoin, which I'm watching because I have just a couple of play dollars in there just to mess around with. When that went to $1, by the way, I had a friend who had, I forget how many Dogecoins he had. His son was making fun of him and breaking his balls. Like, Dad, come on, that's stupid. Nobody.
Grow up,
that's
Dad.
and
Go to work.
He got rid of it, and he got his $86 out of it.
Nice.
If he did not, that would have been worth 86,000 when that bumped up to 90 cents or whatever it did a couple years ago.
Do you think he's forgiven his son yet?
No, I heard he beats him.
Oh, well.
Last week, Dogecoin was down to 7, 8, 9 cents. As of right now, I just peeked on here. It's 36 cents.
Jeez, so what? You only threw a little in? Should have dropped like
not a stock guy.
I'm not either. I bought some stupid.
I drive
ones.
a Mazda, and it has a dent.
Oh, only one dent. Doing well. Yeah, I'm not really into crypto. I'm not really into U.S. dollar. I have very little of that as well. I don't make a lot of that either. I don't even understand our own currency. Nevertheless,
hey, I hear it used to be backed by gold.
It did. It used to be silver and gold certificates. Now it's, you know what fuels the money system in our country? Kamala Harris's campaign. Hope.
I thought it was oil.
Hope and joy. You believe that dollar will buy you a McChicken. And it does. For today, it might not. Maybe it'll be $13 one day. $5 meal deal is pretty good at McDonald's. Did you have that yet?
No.
Nuggets, fries, a big soda, and a McChicken or a McDouble, $5.
Are they a sponsor?
They're not, but they could be. See, I'm always plugging their Grimace on here. We went down the rabbit hole there. Yeah, let's try to keep peace. Remember, this is the United States of America. We're all united. We're all Americans. It's an ideology. It's the only country in the world. You can be German, Italian, anywhere. You come here, you're American. If I went to Germany, I would never become German. If I went to Spain, I would never become Spanish. But here you become American. It's an ideology. Not left, not right, not blue, not red. We're all in this together alone.
I don't know if we are because Donald Trump said he's sending them back. Are they not American?
Well... we need to think about it.
Here we go.
We need to think about things. Let me give you I'm not going to answer.
We're going to send them back.
They came in here and they're eating all of our burgers and it's disgusting.
They're eating our dogs. They're eating our cats.
They're eating our
chicken $5 meals.
They are. I went there and they were all out. I said, what? Unbelievable. No, here's my answer to that. It's a non-answer, but you can, this is why I like doing open-ended. You figure out the answer from my metaphor. I want to go to Disneyland because I love Disneyland and I save up all year to make enough money to go to Magic Kingdom for one day. And then you also want to go to Disneyland, but you just walk in and they don't kick you out and they let you have fun also. And I go, what? I could have just went to Disneyland this whole time. But then you get on the ride before me, and then the ride closes for the day. You get the last turkey leg, and I don't get one.
So we should charge admission.
Maybe. This is the best ride.
This is
the best of all.
It's right on the planet.
It's the best entertainment. What's the old George Carlin quote? When you're born, you get a ticket to the freak show. When you're born in America, you got a front row seat.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? We should be paying to see our obese people walk around. They don't exist anywhere else in the world. Not that big, as big as our people.
Nah, we're the biggest.
We're the big down south. I hear the people are bigger. Is that true? If you're watching from down south, do you drink 10 or 12 Mountain Dews a day? Please comment. I hear it's 10. Like Trump drinks 12 Diet Cokes a day. You know that?
Well, that's sugar free.
Yeah, but I'm saying Mountain Dew is very popular in the South. Sorry if I generalize, but comment if you drink Mountain Dew and if you drink 10 of them. If you do, you'll get a free gift from the show. We're moving on from politics after that.
Good.
You are a lover of this area, Jessup, Pennsylvania. Can you explain why you love this area so much?
Boy, that's a long story.
Well, make it brief.
All right. I came to this area. I was born in 1968. I
Whoa.
spent my formative years in an orphanage and in group homes and such due to some weird situations. That's a whole other story. In 1976, I was adopted by a family in this area. And 1976, it was the bicentennial celebration. So in my formative years, where I spent it, there were no birthdays, there was no Christmases, there was no Easters. All of a sudden, I'm like out of jail. I was like, since I'm born in this institution and in the system, and now I'm out, and it's bicentennial. Every town. I don't know if you remember this. What year were you born?
98.
Well, this happened in 76. Maybe you don't remember.
I don't.
But every town had like street festivals and block parties. And you know how we have St. Ubaldo here in Jessamine?
They know.
Every town had little festivals that happened all year, parades, and it was great. And my family said there's this event happening in Jessup. It hasn't happened in 20 years. It's called the Race of the Saints. And imagine being a 7 or 8 year old little boy, and you're in Jessup, and you feel the ground rumble, the ground shake, and you hear the cheers, and they're yelling in Italian, and here comes these 3 teams of the biggest men you've ever seen carrying these giant statues. And this is when they just ran straight through town, up and down all the streets, and ended over in the field, and then there was a giant picnic after, and I'm like, wow, being adopted is great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this next week. And they said, well, no, this only happens once a year.
Once a year.
But that's, that really had an effect on me.
That was your first-hand experience. First thing you saw was like
right
epic.
there. And I fell in love with that tradition, and I haven't missed one since 1976. Now, there were a few years where it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, but every year that it happened, I was here and a part of it in some capacity. So, fast forward, I started barbering in the late 80s, early 90s, had some nice shops in Hershey. I had a shop up in Archibald. That shop still exists under a different name. I stopped cutting hair briefly due to some health concerns, just a surprise health issue that popped up. I wasn't supposed to walk again. This is a lot of information I'm throwing out.
This is all good stuff.
Got myself back on my feet. Literally, I'm supposed to be in a wheelchair now, if not dead. And
you are not in a wheelchair.
I am certainly not. And I'm thinking I got to get back into the barber game. I opened up a shop in Jessup.
Yes.
And why Jessup? It's just the way it happened. That's a whole other story of how I wound up in Jessup. But to honor the tradition that is La Festa dei Ceri, or the Race of the Saints, I talked to some people at the Ubaldo Society and asked if it would be okay if I named my shop after that tradition, which is called Three Saints Barbershop. That tradition, even though I don't have roots and lineage in Gubbio, Italy, in Jessup here, and Gubbio is where that tradition started. It's the only 2 places in the world where this takes place: Jessup, Pennsylvania, and Gubbio, Italy. It became part of our culture. You were born and raised here, not even in Jessup. If you're born and raised in this area, the greater Jessup area,
Northeast,
it is part of your culture. It's part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a big deal.
And it just, I somehow bonded to that, and to honor Jessup and the town and the tradition, I named the shop after it.
Hell yeah, that was awesome. I have many questions. Hopefully, we get to them later.
That's 6 more episodes. I think we got.
I think we want Mike back on again.
Paragraph.
I hope I can squeeze you in on another episode. I've kind of got a very busy schedule. All right, let's take.
Have you ever been sat on by a nun?
Yes. I went to a Catholic school.
It's an orphanage story, not a sexual story.
Oh, I completely only thought of it as sexual.
It's a sexual.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
That was how we were punished sometimes.
The
biggest, fattest penguin you ever saw? The biggest, fattest penguin you ever saw sat on me.
Is that where you developed the fetish?
Yeah, I don't have any kind of fetish like that. It's just a strong dislike for that pudding of a woman.
Pudding. So, speaking of your shop and barbering, I worked for you briefly. I was a barber for a very brief amount of time. I thought I'd be good at it. I also wear many hats. Believe it or not, me and Mike here are very similar in some regards.
Matt, you remind me of me when I was your age.
I like that. It's a good goal to aspire to be like.
I hope you're better than me, and I think you will be.
I don't know.
I can't play guitar.
Well, I can't cut hair. I tried to be a barber. Mike thought I'd be very good at barbering. He goes, you have everything it takes. He's like, the personality, the charisma. He's like, you'll bring people to the shop. What he forgot was, to be a barber, you also have to know how to cut hair.
That's important.
That is a big part of
See,
it.
that is a teachable aspect of the business. What is not teachable is how to engage with your clients. Now, anybody can stand there and talk to your client. There's more to being a barber than cutting hair. I mean, that's
Also,
almost secondary. I'm sorry.
Also cutting beards.
And cutting hair and beards.
Mhm.
More importantly is how you interact with your clientele. If you've seen me on social media, people wonder how I still have a business. I'm never mean. I don't do political stuff, despite the first 20 minutes of your show here today.
Never.
But I just have a way, and I don't know what it's me. It's unapologetically me,
Yes.
and it works, and it's genuine. I don't put any fronts on. I just say what I feel, and I like to have fun. And in a barbershop, you're not just going in and buying a can of soda. You're not buying a pack of cigarettes. $6.99. Your pennies are changed. Have a nice day. You have somebody in your chair for a full, usually half an hour.
Yeah.
And there's a type of connection that happens because of your position in the barbershop. You're behind the client. And if you ever studied psychology or even seen the television shows, they put the patient on the couch and face them away from the doctor because it makes them more comfortable talking about what they need to talk about.
100%.
And if you're in tune and you're vibing with your client, you know how to build that bond and how to have a good engagement, and you know how to do that. There's some people that just don't have it, and you can't teach it. So, how about this weather? Boy, how about that Donald Trump? The pump Trump, the YMCA, or the
It's getting humid.
Oh, it's not so much the humid, working hard or hardly working. All that shit.
It's not the heat that gets you. It's the humidity.
And you, it's not so much the heat; it's the stupidity. And you're a natural like that. And I saw that from jump. You're also an artist, so you understand lines. You understand shading. You have a style about you, even though you've never cut hair before. You know what things are supposed to look like. So it's just a matter of putting the clipper in your hand and showing you how that tool works. You know what the end result is.
Yeah.
See, I've had people come to my shop as apprentices who don't even know, even when you show them the end result, they don't know what it is. I've had to have people work at my shop for quite some time and still
No idea.
has no idea what the finished product is supposed to look like. You were there how long? 2 weeks?
Oh, 3?
3 weeks?
Maybe a month.
And
3 weeks.
Let me tell your subscribers, all 40,000 of them.
It's almost 50 now.
Nice. See? Much like Bitcoin, it's up several thousand in this
Trump
past
helped
week.
my show.
In those 3 weeks, he was more advanced than just about any apprentice I've ever had in my shop to learn the business.
That means a lot.
And he was his own worst enemy. He didn't think he was good. I'm like, Matt, you're killing it. You're killing it. This is phenomenal. When I say killing it, I mean in a good way.
Yes. But I feel he's being generous with his comments. Mike had to fix up. He had to fix it up,
That's what you do your first month or two.
I did all right.
I do this half, you do that half, and then I show you this is what you need to do to get here. And you picked it up so quickly. That's normally, you were at a 3-month point at 3 weeks. And
you never know.
And you broke my heart.
You never know what's going to happen. I may return to barbering if things don't work out or if I feel a change in the tides.
I think things will work out.
I hope things work out. Let's hope this show works out. Please like and subscribe. Always a shameless plug if needed. So in the shop when I worked there, I will say, as Mike said, the charisma is a big part of it. The riz, as the kids say today. You really can't teach it, and people do come there. The clients come there for that. It's partially the haircut, of course.
You know what though? When something is a square, can't be more square. Do you
Okay,
understand what I'm
that's
saying?
deep.
Right? We're getting
That's
deep,
so deep.
man. A circle can't be more round.
Circle has no
Once you get a
sides.
round circle or a square, and I'm relating that to a haircut. It can't get better. You could get if you give a customer a perfect haircut that they're happy with and what they wanted, and they could get that same haircut at this shop, at that shop. At that point, what they're coming for is the vibe of the shop.
Yes.
This guy up at this place might give the same exact haircut you're giving, but it's a little uncomfortable there. He's a little aggressive, or that place is too, I don't know, whatever people don't like about a place. And I'm sure there's people that go to those places that don't like our vibe.
Of course.
Uh,
Different strokes for different folks.
You know, there's no best shop. There's no best barber. It's what people gravitate towards. It's where they feel comfortable most, and you know what's more convenient. And I will say this: our shop is probably the least conveniently located.
Yeah.
And this is a proud point I'd like to make. We don't have a dedicated parking lot. We are
Nope.
not on a main street. We're not even in a town that has a main thoroughfare. We don't have a business highway like Business
No.
Route 6 where you can't miss, or Main
Yeah.
Street where everybody goes by and sees your sign every day. I'm on
You're
Church
on
Street in
you're on a big
Jessup
hill.
on a steep hill that has street parking, and we are still one of the busiest shops in the area. And and that lends itself and gives credit to my team.
Yes.
I got a great group of people. I have a great front end up there. Our front desk staff is phenomenal, and our barbers are great. So I just wanted to pat myself and my team on the back.
Give it up for 3 Cents Barbershop.
Thank
One
you.
more time.
But where were we? Conversation.
Yeah, so I was saying, like, I feel like back in the day, you had the stereotype of like women going to get their hair done, and it would be like the gossip. They could talk about their husband and stuff, and they're getting a perm and all that, or getting their nails done. But the man equivalent to that is the barber shop.
The secret's out. Years ago,
Yeah.
you know, there was a time in barbershops where women weren't even allowed in there. Maybe they weren't allowed, but they just didn't go in. Like that was
Unspoken.
it was like that's where the men went. Back in the day, you know, in bars, like as recently as the 70s and 80s, bars had a women's entrance, and they would stay in like the dining room area, and they actually had call buttons by the booths.
Like this.
Yes!
Bring me
And the bartender,
Janice.
oh, what do those ladies want now? And they would go
You
over,
rang?
you need a pitcher of beer, or do you need this or that? And the men stayed over on the other side.
So it was like my middle school dance.
Yeah.
Weird.
And that's the way it was in barbershops. Women just generally didn't go in there. And on Saturdays, no kids. If you were under 18, you were not allowed in a barbershop on a Saturday because
Weird.
men worked all week, and that was their chance to get in.
To unwind.
But the big secret that got let out is the men are just as gossipy
Yep.
as the women. There's guys, of course, that just don't want to say anything. I have guys when they sit in the chair, they want that half hour, they close their eyes and sit back, and that's their 30-minute escape.
Yep.
And there's guys, they're not even in the chair. And they want to tell
you.
they want to spill tea, and they want to share some things. And there's guys I look forward to when they come in because I have tea I want to spill.
Yep.
And it's a whole thing. So yeah, guys do talk in a barbershop.
Yeah, and it's like therapeutic. I think that's why people come back so often to you. Like when I was there, I saw people coming to you like they come every single week. It was very interesting. Like I'm like, oh, I saw that guy 2 days ago. But they love it. They like what they need it. It's like a part of their life, part of their structure. People book months ahead with you, which is crazy. They like section off every other week for the whole year. There's some people are in 2027, which is crazy. But with that being said, any interesting conversations that go on in the shop that stand out or have stood out to you in the past? I heard some great stories. I witnessed some fun stories, but any 1 or 2 or 3 you want to share?
It just when you think you've heard it all, anything from personal relationships, men trouble, women trouble, politics. You know, they say, oh, the things you should never talk about in public is politics and religion. I disagree. Those are the things you need to talk about. These are, if you don't want to, you don't have to. We certainly don't initiate those.
Yep.
But if somebody wants to come in and vent respectfully, I will listen to them.
Of course.
I will empathize with them. There's people that are very upset right now with the current climate. There's people that are very thrilled with the situation we're in now. But I can't think of I can't think of a situation or a conversation that hasn't happened. And because I said that, this week is going to be wild because somebody will come in and it's just.
Yeah.
What was the wildest thing you've seen in your few weeks there? Anything stand out or?
I mean, it's always something. Like it's very interesting. Like you are a very nice, gentle giant man most of the time. I've seen you get a little angry at times. I thought that was quite funny. When people are disrespectful, Mike does not tolerate it. A couple times there's some disrespectful people. I watched Mike say some funny things to a customer that other people realized was serious. I hadn't realized it was serious. I didn't know you were serious that day when you almost kicked the guy right out and picked him out of the chair because he was being disrespectful. I'm oblivious sometimes. I don't realize. I can't read a room at times.
We have, and let me say this. I don't want to make it sound like I'm a touch me not. How dare you? I get my balls busted in there on the daily. I get roasted, and it's a back and forth. And if you know me, you know that there's a give and take. But you know when somebody's being an absolute jerk off. And if they're disrespectful, I have women that work there. If they're disrespectful to the ladies, I have zero tolerance. I will light them up, and I have.
Yeah.
I have physically removed people from the place.
Yeah, that's
fun. It's very rare. And I think the incident you're referring to was the gentleman that was in your chair who was disrespectful.
Yes.
And you thought what I was.
I thought he was kidding.
You thought that I was kidding.
Yeah, I thought I was just like laughing it off.
I had a guy in the chair just on Friday, and he was in Sammy's chair. Sammy's a girl about your age.
I know her.
And she's very intuitive.
SpongeBob
lover of the SpongeBob, but she gets nervous because when I get loud, like I'm very whispery when I speak. When I get loud, the room vibrates.
Yes.
And this guy was, for some reason, he was hammered.
Nice.
Just got back from hunting. He's in his full camos. And he's looking over at the guy that's sitting in Biff's chair. And the guy's getting a fade, a skin fade. It was a beautiful fade. Biff knocked it out of the park. And fades are 80% of what we're doing right now for men's hair. And he's just looking at him, what's the matter with that guy? That haircut looks like shit. Why would he get that kind of hair? And he was getting louder and louder, and he was being nasty. Like, he wasn't joking. He didn't know the guy. And I had my hand on him, and I said, tell me in my ear one more time what your problem is. And Sam is already going like this. Oh my God.
So that tension is what's fun.
Biff was ready to light him up as well. He was being very disrespectful to another client.
I know.
And we straightened him out quick. I had my hand on the hair cloth. I would have tossed him out with half a haircut.
Which would have been funny.
I would have loved that. But Sam gets very...
She was nervous. Yes. People don't like confrontation. You do.
But we have to. I don't run away.
You like confrontation.
I don't.
We're not going to get into this, but you like you took on a man that had a lead pipe in a road rage, and in this, we're not giving any details away, but I was there the day it had happened, and the guy left after this fight or altercation, and he forgot his phone, and Mike had the phone. And he was like texting his wife and stuff. Like, that's kind of what goes on. Like, there's crazy. Like, that's just a mild story.
That was
he gave the phone back.
I was at a crossroads there. I was at a moral crossroads. I got into this altercation with the guy. It was we'll call it a scuffle.
A scuffle.
And he almost pulled out in front of me. And I don't get angry on the road. I was on my way to work on a Saturday morning. I had my dog in the back, a German Shepherd.
Bowser.
And as he stopped halfway in the road and realized he was pulling out, I was driving down the road. If you know me, I don't speed. 25 miles an hour in my busted Mazda. And I just gave him one of these, dude. Like, that was
the fuck?
Yeah, like, dude. And I kept going. He pulls out behind me, middle finger up to his windshield, and and I'm looking back, and I'm just like, wow, this guy's having a bad day.
Yeah.
So I'm at the next intersection, which is at, German 107 ramp to get onto the Casey Highway.
They don't know.
And they don't know. This is a very local thing. We got people watching in other countries. But I'm at the next intersection, and I wasn't pulling up fast enough because cars were coming. He whips around to my side into the oncoming traffic lane and rolls down his window and he starts jawing and saying horrific stuff about my mother, what he wants to do.
To your mother.
And I said, first of all, you don't even know my mom. She's really not that hot. She's elderly. She's got arthritis. Her feet looks like she's throwing gang signs. I'm like, she's really not that hot. And I forget what else I said to him. So at that point, I'm aggravated. So we're jawing back and forth, jawing. And he goes to pull out again and pulls out in front of another car and almost gets hit. So I said, see, you silly, look. Well, he got mad and jumped out of his car. And he grabbed the pipe out of the back. And, a lot of stuff went on. The pipe went back into his truck and he took off. And when I looked down, there was a brand new Motorola phone in the road.
Silly goose.
So I picked it up. And now in that point we were screaming at each other. His phone starts ringing and I'm like, hello? Give me my phone back. I'm like, who is this? I can't talk right now.
But imagine coming into the shop and this is going on. Like I came in for a cut that day.
So yeah, you were
and you're like, hey, I got this guy's phone and it's just ringing and he's calling and it's his wife and you're downloading Bumble.
I think it was Grindr.
It was Grindr.
So now I'm at a crossroads.
What's Grindr?
I don't know. I think it's a dating site.
I thought it was for hoagies.
It might be. Oh, hoagies and grinders. I remember that song.
I thought it was actually about sandwiches.
Well, his phone was locked. Yes. So I couldn't, only if somebody called was I able, but I was at work. Now I'm at a crossroads. Some people at the shop were saying, smash it, throw it in the river. I put it into a local, I decided, I was going to answer some calls and then somebody suggested he could ping it and find it at the shop. And I didn't want that to happen. So I said, well, if he's going to ping it, I'll put it in the back of a delivery truck.
You did, yes.
It didn't go in the back of a delivery truck, and I can't say who, but it went into the back of a local known pedophile's truck. I figured if he shows up, let them two work it out. I went back to work, and then I'm thinking, now my heart is kicking in. And I'm thinking, geez, this guy didn't look like he had a lot. That looked like a brand new. Phones are like $1,000. Anymore.
Motorola's.
Well, I don't know. It's the best he could afford, I'm sure.
It's probably a lot. You're right.
And what if he's got kids? What if he's got a job, a boss that's trying to call him, or his wife? I got to go down and get the phone. So I went back down the road to the truck that was in the back of the truck, and the people who owned the truck were there, and I said hello to them, grabbed the phone out of the back of the truck, and just continued back up.
They didn't even care.
And they looked at me. They were like doing the Macarena. Like, did you grab I have my phone.
Yeah, we know those people. You and me ran into those people at a local pub.
Whole other story.
But we won't tell that.
So now I have his phone, and on the way back to the shop, which is a couple blocks away, I managed to get into his phone, despite there being a password on it.
So let's just say it probably wasn't
very complicated.
It wasn't very complicated.
It wasn't zero,
it didn't
zero,
need to be
zero.
cracked.
It was a simple.
Probably 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I got into it, into the phone, and I told him, look, I called his wife. I said, I'm not going to be back into your area. I had an altercation with your husband. He's a very violent man.
He kissed you.
He's an arrogant man. We made love. No. He's cheating on you
with me, buddy.
So I said, I will drop the phone off. And then I had a dinner to go to that night. And my phone, there was like 15 messages. Please, can you return the phone? So I called and I said, look, I don't want any problems. I'm going to drop it in your mailbox, knock the door, and leave. Mm-hmm. I'm not a small guy. We got into an altercation once. I'm just trying to do the right thing here. I show up, and there he is with an AR-15 on his front door.
Typical. Those are expensive.
Cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And my wife's like, so you left, right? I'm like, no, I jumped out of the car.
You want this?
And I said, what's wrong with you? You got an AR-15. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm.
You're negotiating with these people, though.
And like, put your gun down. Like, here's your phone.
A lot of trust.
And he started up again. Like, you don't know who. I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. But here's your phone. And his wife came out, and they found out she has cancer, and they don't have much of anything. And then I felt bad. I'm glad I did what I did.
You did the right thing.
But that's just another day. That's one
Yes,
story.
in summer, to circle back,
To
that
circle
is
back, that's-
kind of what goes on the average Friday.
So people that come to the shop hear my tea that happens to me and my stories and
That's why I can't recommend the shop enough. If you can get in the extensive waiting list, please do. You will get a taste of something like that, I can guarantee you, within your 30-minute or 40-minute visit at
Want
the
to hear a
shop.
funny story?
Yeah.
In addition to sponsoring this show, back when I had my shop in Hershey, in the heart of historic Hershey, Pennsylvania, I wanted to sponsor a Little League team.
Oh, yes. I remember this team.
And I went to the board and I said, we'll provide the uniforms. We want to, and what's your team going to be called? And I said, well, we're in Hershey. My shop is called the Hershey Barber Shop. It's the little kids. They're the 7-8-year-old group. I want to call them the Hershey Squirts. The Hershey Squirts.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. And it was the logo of the Hershey Kiss. And this was in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. We have an emoji now.
Yeah.
It's supposed to
look just like that.
And it looked just like that.
See,
and they thought it was a reference to something else when I said Hershey Squirts.
what was it in reference to?
Poo.
Who?
So
Can someone explain this to me?
they asked me to leave, and I was not allowed to sponsor a Little League team after that.
It's outrageous.
Terrible.
That's bullshit.
Yes, it is.
Get it? All right, let's keep it going. When you're at the shop and you have these conversations, do you ever get into things like conspiracy theories?
What?
Would you consider yourself a conspiracy theorist?
I don't know what I'd consider myself. I enjoy. It's like watching professional wrestling.
I like midget wrestling.
Are we allowed to say that anymore?
I'm not disparaging anyone. That's just what it's called at the local venue called the Moon Tavern on Dixon City Route
They used to
6.
have football leagues called midget football. We can't say that anymore.
There used to be Midget Kiss as well, remember?
And it was called Smooch, wasn't it?
It was Smooch.
Little fellas.
Like a little kiss, get it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Little Smooch.
It all comes back to Kiss. Hershey Squirts.
But I guess I would liken it to watching professional wrestling. Not that I watch much of that anymore. You watch it, you enjoy it. You talk to your buddies, your customers about it. Like, yeah, how about what this guy did? How about what that guy did? You know it's fake, but it's fun to talk about the things, the fan fiction that you come up with. So it's fun. So I enjoy reading the conspiracies. I think the word conspiracy theory started during the Kennedy assassination.
That was the first time it was used.
And, some of the things that were theories have come true, and some of them are so far-fetched. I'd feel like a fool even talking about them.
Yeah. What about Flat Earth? Like that one. That one's not worth noting, but JFK assassination is. I think it's a spectrum. I think that one's really not much of a conspiracy theory anymore.
How could there be a flat Earth when we live in the endless mountains? And I just realized something. You know what?
Explain that.
We literally live at the end of the endless mountains.
Like the what's the mountain range called here? Appalachian.
Appalachian.
We're at the end of that.
Well, the endless mountains in the Poconos. The Appalachian goes from the Kentucky and Virginia all the way up through.
I thought you meant we're at the end of that.
But what they call in the Pocono Northeast here is the endless mountain region, and we're at the very end of the endless mountains.
So how does that? Tell the viewers how that proves the Earth is not flat.
Yeah, I don't know. I took science.
I think you're talking about like topography. Like I get that. Like I get that there's hills, but is there an ice wall?
I don't want to say I believe in that. I feel like a fool if I do. Everything we've been taught says.
Well, what about leaving the ice wall, like Admiral Byrd did?
I know what the theories say, and the theories say that the Earth is flat, and it's an endless realm. And the theorists say that it's flat, not like a plate. I don't know what it's flat like. They're saying it's not like a plate where you wouldn't see a flat disc, but it's. I don't know. They're saying that the Antarctica is around the end, and there's other. Yeah. If you picture a circle, and then there's other circles around that, there's other continents beyond that.
Yeah, there's other worlds out there, possibly. Yeah. Here's what's cool about conspiracy theories. You could say, you never know.
You never know anything.
It's just like, prove to me God's real. Can't. Prove to me God's not real. Can't. So it's like one of those arguments where it gives people a lot of time on the internet to make these funny things I enjoy reading. I leave Ancient Aliens on for the dogs when I go to work, and their third eye is opening up a little.
Their pineal gland has been defluoridated.
Oh yeah, I don't give them tap water anymore.
It's just like that Carbondalian thing that happened.
Oh yeah, I was going to get into that. Of course, that's
Who
why.
believes in that?
That's my segue. I recently attended a conspiracy theory themed event, or some would say, I don't believe it's a conspiracy theory at all. I attended the Carbondale Alien Festival not too long ago, this past weekend, and I was at the original crash site of the UFO that crashed into Russell Park. What do you think about that, considering you were alive in 1974?
Yes, I was confined to, I was a ward of the state in those years, but I've done some research over the years. And from what I've read from the actual person who made the report, he threw a battery-operated miner's lamp and into this sulfur-filled pond, and it made a glowing effect, a fluorescent glowing effect. And he states he was trying to impress his girlfriend at the time.
That would do it.
And yeah, I saw this alien. There was stuff in the sky, and the bigger deal that was made out of it. Now, mind you, this is before internet and smartphones, and like you didn't see this on news channels. Like this was just stuff that happened word of mouth that you heard about in faraway places like Arizona and the desert somewhere. Now it's happening in in Carbondale.
Yeah,
this is big news for Carbondale.
Roswell.
So the word started to spread fast, and it's like that game Post Office. This guy tells this guy tells this guy tells this, and before you know it, it's a lot bigger than, hey, we saw what was the equivalent of a glow stick glowing at the bottom of a silt pond.
Yep.
So now this guy has to stick with his story because he impressed his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And now there's police coming to look, and these police escalated it to the state level, and the state level escalated it to the federal level. Now, they came and investigated it. I'm not denying that.
Yep.
But they were probably thinking this was during the early years of the Cold War.
Yeah.
What if it's part of a Sputnik satellite that crashed in? If there's something glowing.
Could have been.
So they took anything that they determined was important to take back to wherever they were stationed and study.
Okay.
So, yes, there was eyewitnesses. She saw something leaving on a flatbed. It was probably some of the earth or the silt or the dirt, soil, rock that was around where this was sighted. They took it to study to see if there was anything interplanetary or foreign material that wasn't part of our technology, or maybe it was our technology. So the guy admitted that he kind of told a tall tale to impress a girlfriend. I hear he was at the event on Saturday.
I did. I met him.
And now it's like there's this holiday happening in a town that holidays don't generally happen in, Carbondale.
Yeah, they only have one.
We have you
Pioneers Day.
Yeah, Pioneer Days. Would you go to a kissing booth at Pioneer Days in Carbondale? That was a thing back in the day, a kissing booth.
I have been to them. I was at one this past weekend.
It's a great place to. Yeah.
Let me just debunk this skeptic take you just took.
But let me just finish this thought real quick.
Okay.
It's their holiday. It's like their Ubaldo. It's like Santa Claus. We celebrate that holiday around a fictional character.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I hope you're not.
Ladies and gentlemen, block your children's ears.
I hope you're not saying that on the show.
Yes.
That Santa's not real.
It was a manufactured holiday by corporate America. Coca-Cola invented modern day Christmas. But anyway, we celebrate that knowing that the Easter Bunny isn't real. And that's a holiday based on a religious thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's neither here. So yeah, now this guy is up there at Carbondale, and he's kind of like, geez, I kind of ruined this whole holiday. Look at, there's people with little antennas. I saw you on your previous podcast. You have these little glow-in-the-dark antennas for your head. If I say this wasn't real and I made it up to impress my girlfriend, now Matt's going to take his little glow-in-the-dark antennas off and maybe throw them in the silt pond and
then start all over again. The perpetual nature of life, it just restarts again.
50 years later, it's another holiday.
Yeah.
But you wanted to respond to
I do want to respond. Before I do, shout out to my Uncle Dave, who I haven't heard from in a long time. Thanks for not reaching out. In the TV show we have, me and my best friend Eric, we wrote Barry Burley. Dave has a super soda dispenser on his side that like a coin dispenser a bus driver would have that dispenses Italian cured meat. Just want to throw that out there. But the only reason I bring him up is he thinks Saint Nicholas said by an Italian man is where Santa Claus came from. And he says it's something like this: Santa Nicholas.
That sounded Russian.
Santa Nicholas. And that's where Santa Claus came from. He does it better than I could. Sorry, Dave, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Now to respond to your UFO thing, I have ADHD. That whole story was nonsense what you said.
What?
The whole thing about a lantern. I didn't even bring that up when I recapped it because I thought it was so ridiculous that people from towns away saw this thing crash, that someone could have tossed a lantern, battery operated, that high, and then it would glow so much that it would even get a little attention. It wouldn't. Number two.
Can I stop you on point one?
Okay, because number two is a doozy.
All right. That's why I'm going to go point by point.
Okay.
Mind you, no cell phones, and you have to put yourself back. And then we barely had. If you were from Carbondale calling troop, you had to call long distance.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
So somebody drops a dime, and now there's helicopters coming up from the state police, shining their spotlights down
for a lantern that someone tossed in.
So now somebody in Fell Township, Simpson, or Mayfield is seeing the spotlight come down from the helicopter. They're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I was out last night. I saw some lights in the sky too." Well, yeah, because the timeline is
saw something flaming. It was on fire. The reports, they were from towns away.
And again, post office things get exaggerated each time one person tells the next to make it sound more impressive. And it could have been a foggy night. We should do an experiment. We should do a live remote somewhere and throw some glow sticks in a.
Sure, I bet you it won't have the same effect. And that brings me to point two. This dude wanted to impress his girlfriend?
That's his quote.
Listen to me. Women are rarely impressed by men ever.
We didn't have dick pics back then.
But that wouldn't impress them either. That doesn't impress women either. In my experience, just kidding. What I'm saying is, if you wanted to impress your girlfriend, I don't care what year it was, you showing her a glowing pond isn't going to get you laid.
It's Carbondale.
It's not. It's still not going to get you laid. She's going to say, "Where's the Marlboros? Where's the beef jerky?" I don't care about the glowing pond, even in 1974. So that's debunked.
Weed was big.
Yo, you want to see a glowing pond?
People were doing acid and mushrooms in the.
So why would anyone call the cops if he just showed his girl a glowing pond?
You have to respond to a report.
Who's going to? The girlfriend's going to call. Oh my God, that pond's glowing. I better call the cops. Yeah. Nobody else would be impressed by the glowing pond.
I think they were.
So what if he was like, "I wanted to get laid," and she ran home to call the cops? This sucks.
Well, I'm not saying. I don't think he said she ran home.
Well, then who called?
He did.
So he called the cops.
He made up this tall tale.
Okay.
And
so this guy was a genius.
He really liked this girl, I guess. I mean, he was interviewed as recently as this weekend where he tells the story.
I saw him.
That he made it up.
There's some weird things, though, that people are saying that it moved in the water. A lantern wouldn't move, and it moved so much that a cop even fired his gun at it, and that's in the report. Why would a cop shoot at a glow stick?
It wasn't a still pond. It was spring fed. There was an underwater current that kind of kept it moving.
Okay, well, these are good skeptic ideas. I think it's more feasible to believe that aliens crashed in Carbondale and were taken away in their craft on a flatbed truck. And they told you, they said, these people are stupid. They'll believe that it was just a lantern.
I don't believe in that theory at all. And I think anything that people don't understand because of ancient aliens that host aliens, it's become a meme.
I know.
I don't understand.
Zukakis, is that his name?
How do magnets work? Aliens.
But I like how they deliver it. Here's how it would be.
Fun. I guess it's like pro wrestling. You know it's fake, but
a flaming light seen over the horizon, a glowing beam coming from the silt pond. Could this be aliens? Theorists say yes. That's how they do it.
And then do you play that TikTok sound in the background?
Oh, yeah.
But how does that go?
I don't know. I can't do it with my mouth.
Sure, you will.
That's what she said.
You had a nickel for every. No, never mind.
It's like, but they say ancient alien theorists say yes. Can me and you be ancient alien theorists? Like, what makes you an ancient alien theorist?
if you theorize about
Well,
something
that's me.
right now,
I might edit that caption onto our thing.
right now you're an ancient alien theorist, and I'm a denier. But this is going to switch real quick because I have a surprise for you.
So you are an election denier.
What? I'm an alien denier.
Let's move on from that. Do you believe, real quick, do you believe in the Jessup Chupacabra that I did catch on the Ring doorbell?
I've seen that.
Yes. Now that
and I need it was like the 1970s Sasquatch photo. It was a grainy black and white. It was
nighttime and it was a ring.
Figure.
It was a ring.
And based on that, it looked pretty. He was pretty skanky.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a mangy cat. It was a skanky pussy.
We're probably like
an
hour in,
pussy.
and we just got the first one. Thank you for that. We just got that an hour in. Tell your wife that you failed. Sorry. So with the conspiracy theory thing, you talk about these things as they're like, you said they were like WWE in a funny lens. You used to be a comedian, stand-up comedian. Do you bring that kind of energy to the shop with you?
I don't.
Like, do you feel like you're performing at the shop?
No. And I don't think that would be genuine.
Okay.
As a comic yourself, yes, I used to do a little stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a set list.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a set, and it's pre-rehearsed. And the same set you do here, you're doing there, and every club you play. And then you update it every couple of months. Some guys are doing the same set
30
for years. How about these airplane peanuts?
What's up with that?
But there's another aspect of comedy that's, we call crowd work, where you're just up there and you're rapping with an audience member. Hey, you're laughing. Tell me about yourself. And you engage back and forth. And it's natural. It's genuine. It's organic. And that's what I do at the shop. And because I'm doing this 35 plus years, it's kind of like a muscle. The more you do it, the more you exercise it, the easier that stuff comes, but it's genuine. I don't have a list, a checkoff list. Today we're going to talk about this, and this.
You're not writing a set.
As somebody comes in, kids are fun. You're shooting the bull with the kids, and kids say funny things, and
kids say the darndest things.
The darndest things, don't they?
Is that Cosby who did that show?
We shouldn't talk about him.
It's not even a great impression. I heard a really good impression this week.
And I like to have fun. People are there for a half hour. We're delivering a service, but we want them to leave with a smile. I want them to go home and say at their dinner table, "My God, I was at the shop there. You're not going to believe what happened."
Well, that's what
Mike had an altercation on the way to work, and he downloaded Bumble or Grindr on this guy's phone and then returned it to him.
See, you are very relatable to me in this regard because we have very interesting lives. We do a lot of interesting things, but most people don't. So like that, not to disparage anyone, but most people aren't doing this. Most people aren't fighting people with a pipe on the daily. Most people aren't doing podcasts in their basement. You know what I'm saying? So to them, it's like a treat, like to have that kind of insanity and chaos, like a story like that they're going to retell. You and me, it's just a normal Tuesday,
Yeah.
But not everybody is living a life like that.
That's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe. I just realized that for the first time. I was like, you guys don't watch SpongeBob into your late 20s?
I've never seen an entire episode of SpongeBob or The Simpsons.
That's going to get you a lot of bad press.
I know.
This show
it was just
SpongeBob.
I was older when that came out, and I know it's a popular thing.
Go home and watch one tonight.
I'm going to go home and watch tonight, baby.
It's so funny.
Do you want to hear a conspiracy theory?
Before you do, though, I want you to tell me that, but I want your opinion with the comedy thing.
Right.
I want to keep on the comedy just for a little longer. Do you think comedy's making a comeback, or is it dead? Like, can we tell jokes again?
It's neither.
Can you be canceled? Is that still going on?
Yes.
I feel like it's better.
It is, yes. In the old days of comedy, you could say anything and do anything. It wasn't right, but you didn't have to worry about something being career-ended. You would have to do something. You would have to pull a Kramer.
Yeah.
That would be
Kramer.
career.
He ruined his whole life.
Yeah. And
he messed up.
he was he was raging and angry, and it's good he doesn't have a gig if he can't control himself on stage.
That was an abysmal, terrible thing he did, but I still do
And it
watch
wasn't-
Seinfeld and
He was
find it
funny in Seinfeld, and he had that other series that was like a sketch comedy.
2.5 Men.
No,
Oh,
2.5. He was. I forget what it was called, but it was a sketch comedy series. The 80s.
was
maybe.
it called Cracist?
No, it should have been. But here's the thing: that wasn't part of his act. That was the real.
I thought he should have just said that was an act.
No, it wasn't.
What if it was like, I
Did
was
you
just
see the video?
kidding? I have.
It was pure
But what if
rage
it was like, I was just kidding?
and anger.
It was improv.
You can't back out of that.
I know.
It wasn't part of his set, so you can't say. So
What if he had it written down?
no, it wasn't. If he had it written down, he should be. Yeah. So to answer your question, it hasn't. It's not coming back. It's not dead. Comedy was here. It peaked in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
And then something changed into the 2000s, and it dropped off. But it's plateaued. It's still there. It's no better or worse than it has been for the last 20 years.
I know.
But here's what happened. Turkey's done. You had a comedy set.
Okay.
You had a persona a lot of times. That was your comedy persona. Let's use Andrew Dice Clay.
I like that you picked that. I like the jacket.
What is the show rated?
You can say whatever you want on this show.
He used to have
Free country.
this thing. He'd walk out, he's smoked a cigarette, and he's smoking it around his head. And he'd go quiet, and he'd go on the microphone. So I got my tongue up this chick's ass. Ow! Now
He's the best.
I'm in line at the bank, and I got my tongue up this chick's ass. As a comedy fan, he's not at the First National Bank of Jessup
No.
tossing a robust salad.
He's not.
It's a character,
It's
and
an act.
it's satire. It's an act.
It's just a joke.
So there were brilliant comics who were portraying a character on stage, and everything in comedy. Look, I could tell the story about the guy with the pipe and turn that into a whole comedy act and embellish the ever-living shit out of that. And that's 15 minutes set right there.
Yeah.
I think we did 15 minutes here, but I could embellish the shit out of it and make it a whole comedy act.
And with comedy and sex, it's hard to last 15 minutes.
It really is. They put the red light on.
Huh?
They're like, yeah, you're
Yeah, they're like, no.
done. You got to get the headliner in.
And we're just talking about sex. Yeah. But no, it is a 15-minute joke. If you have a 15-minute joke, that's an art with comedy.
But you're not waiting 15 minutes for the punchline. There's little zingers in between.
Yes.
You're working with the crowd a little bit, and it's a story. It's like you and I are having right now.
Exactly.
But, I lost my train of thought.
It was an act. Dice Clay.
Right. So
Sex.
So if you were an actor
Uh-huh.
in a sitcom on 2.5 Men or in a movie, and you played the most, we'll use the word for Donald, deplorable piece of
Yes.
garbage character,
Yeah.
and you sold it like a Fight Club. There were some deplorable characters.
Yeah, or any
there.
Tarantino
Pulp Fiction.
movie. Yeah.
They're hateable, and they're winning awards for that because, oh my God, did he portray that character?
Think about that.
But you go up there with a microphone with just your nuts hanging out, just you in front of a brick wall, and you say some shit, and you're not on a screen. They could throw ice cubes or worse at you.
Yeah.
And they'll
that's
stand up
weird.
and be like, no, how dare you make a joke about whatever.
I know.
And I've seen in recent years, and it's not happened, I've seen guys go up and attack. Big Jay Okerson was at a club and said something one of the people in the crowd didn't like, and went up and grabbed his feet and pulled him out.
So weird.
Some people came out and dispatched him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But that's what's changed. People are more enraged, and they're a lot more sensitive in the last 20 years. And it's what our culture has, I want to say evolved. I don't want to say devolved.
Okay.
It just changed. And it happened, and it is what it is. Will I do stand-up? Probably not. Because if I go up and do a character or say some things just because I'm trying to embellish a story and get to the joke and make it punch that much harder, there are people that don't understand what comedy is.
No.
And they'll say, can you believe, not what, Mike the stand-up comic said.
Yeah.
They're going to say what Mike the Barber, who owns a business and has, a couple people depending on him for a living, fuck that guy, boycott his business. Now all of a sudden, I can't. I'm taking a financial hit in my personal life. They'll attack your social media, and that's everybody. It's not just one side. It's not like, oh, Republicans are only doing it. Oh, the Democrats or the Independents or the Libertarians are doing. There's people in every group, and it's this ongoing battle back and forth where they're trying to one up each other. Well, they did this, so we're going to do it. Or it was okay if you did it, but not if we do it.
Yeah,
they're trying to ingrain this double standard. So I made it probably a lot more complicated than it should be in that explanation. But
no, that was actually the best, most efficient answer I could have ever asked for.
It's a lot, and I give the guys who are still out there with your nuts out on stage.
Yeah,
I give you guys a lot of credit because you have to be so careful.
I know,
or you just gotta be like a bull, put your horns down, which is what you do, and charge straight into it. You go up and you make that Trump joke, you make that Kamala joke.
I mean, I think this is what I always say when people say, "Oh, we don't talk about politics," or "Oh, we don't talk about that here," or "Oh, that's offensive." I feel like if you don't do it, and I'm not saying your stance is cowardly. I don't mean it to come off as
for somebody who's as confrontational as you said I was. That's where I draw my line.
And I don't want to come off like that, but I feel like if we don't keep doing it anyways, then it just dies. I feel like we bow down to those that are gatekeeping what's allowed to be said and what's not. So that's my only argument. I'm not saying I'm going to do that either. I'm not going to go out there and make jokes that I want to tell because the same concerns you have. But I feel like if someone doesn't, then that's the new standard now. We don't talk about those things. And I don't want that to happen because those things are very funny in the right fashion, And
here's the thing.
You can't say when you were in school and your friend said something that shouldn't be said. Wasn't it the funniest thing ever? You laughed harder than ever. If you just said, well, paper clips shouldn't be purple, that's not funny. But if you say something really obnoxious and make a fart noise in English class, it's gonna sell.
Farts will never not be funny.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care how old you are.
And if you think about that, go back to that early, primitive, young youth sense. The funniest thing was always something you shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Always. And what you shouldn't have said is always what's funny, and that still transfers over. So I think we're doing a little bit of a disservice by not standing up to these gatekeepers. I think Dave Chappelle is, standing up pretty well. Tony Hinchcliffe was until that Puerto Rican joke. He was in the wrong.
I don't know what he was thinking. He made a watermelon joke.
He did.
And I don't know.
Place, dude.
I don't know. I know his set was vetted.
I don't think it was. I don't think it wasn't.
I don't think Donald himself read that. But when you have somebody at the level of Donald Trump is in politics, they have to look at everything. And it may not be Donald himself. Somebody looked at that and said, yeah, that's okay.
I know.
And I know Tony Hinchcliffe. What's his show?
Kill Tony. Hilarious show.
It's really out there. I don't think he was the ideal choice. And it was, in my opinion, a poor choice for him to make those jokes at that particular a function they're already saying is a Nazi rally, a fascist, a Hitler-esque, and he's going to get up there and make watermelon jokes in Puerto Rico.
This is not the comedy mothership. It's not Rogan's Club in Austin, where that joke would have did very well because that's the politically incorrect kind of outsider comedian club that doesn't bow by Jimmy Kimmel late night rules, but not at a Trump biggest rally of all time in Madison Square Garden. You don't do that. You don't shit where you eat. If you went there, you tell a couple of Jim Gaffigan style jokes and you call it a day. You don't
Try telling Tony Hinchcliffe's jokes in the voice of Jim Gaffigan.
That would be kind of funny.
So how about that floating island of garbage? That's Puerto Rico.
Well, that's not the best.
It was Halloween, so we carved watermelons. Like, imagine him. Would that have made it any better or worse?
I feel like Gaffigan's a likable guy.
He is, no matter what he says.
Hinchcliffe is he has that thing about him where you're like, after the Brady roast, Tom Brady roast, you kind of knew this guy was like a killer. Like he's Jeff Ross level roast. He's a roast guy. He doesn't really do sets.
But he has a very small following. if you want a massive
know,
following,
it's pretty
who's
big.
who's that Italian guy that everybody loves now with the bugged out eyes and all the makeup?
Everybody says that.
Growing up in an Italian family, the doorbell rings, everybody looks at each other like, who the fuck is that? And it's like
You
this.
did
I don't know.
That's better than him.
What's his name? Maniscalco or
Everybody says, you know, that Italian guy. I go, yeah, but not really. I know there's Italian. And he
he's
tells one
good.
joke.
He's funny. That's his.
Yeah.
That's his thing. Like they're growing up with an Italian family. He's like,
cultural appropriation.
I grew up in a middle class family.
You better be 100%.
But it's very safe.
So
And
safe.
it's like with the housewives and the moms and the Karen's not going to get upset at
Yes.
what's his name?
Serge. Is it Sergio? I have a friend that's a
It's
comic. Sergio.
Antonio Maniscalco or something
Sure.
like that. Gabagool.
How many times can we fucking believe that dry of the Italian stereotype? How many times are you gonna keep
But it's
wringing that towel
He
out?
is one of the top grossing entertainers in the comedy world right now. And that's my point.
Yes.
Somebody like Tony Hinchcliffe, he's got that edge, but there's not a lot of people who like to go that close to the edge
I
without
know.
falling off. And I know, there's a lot of us who
All of
like some
you-
edgy comedy.
All of you, just remember, if you're edging, something's coming.
What?
So I
But
mean, if
not
you're-
anytime
if you're
soon.
not getting near the edge, then what are you really
Not
doing? What are you
anytime
really doing?
soon.
For all those people watching, if you're not getting towards the edge, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're just going up there being safe? That's kind of boring.
But people love him. He's so
Yeah,
loved.
everybody loves a kiss on the cheek,
Yeah.
you know? But if you really want to make it interesting, you got to go towards the edge.
And do that thing that you know is not going to make you laugh, but it does, and it makes you feel guilty for laughing.
That's the best part about a comedy show, when you're laughing and you didn't know you were gonna.
And you're looking around to see he just made fun of this type of person or that type of individual, and you're looking around and you're trying not to laugh, but he might have made fun of let's just say an Irishman.
An Irishman, yeah.
And you look around you to see if there's any guys with red hair,
Yeah,
might
sometimes
be-
you can't tell.
and you want to laugh, but you shouldn't,
Sometimes you can't
and
tell.
it makes it awkward. And then the comic points you out. I see you laughing, and there's an Irishman right next to you.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, Seamus, do you see,
Yeah,
you see
you
an
know what I'm
Italian kid laughing?
Yeah. I remember back in my day, you had to go to a different bar, you two. You know, like you could that it's just
Yes.
funny though. It's just funny. These are jokes.
What do you mean?
Back in the day,
What?
Italians and Irish people weren't allowed to go to the same bar or church, which is why our area in particular has so many bars and churches.
Oh, that's going to segue right into my next thing.
Well, that's perfect. We can do it.
And I just want to finish up with this, with the comedy stuff.
Yeah.
Politics has been comedy fodder since the beginning of
Since
comedy.
Greek times.
And both parties, I remember, the Clinton versus and Bush and Reagan, and both sides would laugh. But if you make a Kamala joke, you get put in this box. If you make a Trump joke, you get put in that box. What are you, a Trump tard? What are you, a libtard? Like all of a sudden, there's this identity politics thing that people want to put you in a place, and it's hard. Like even on making memes and Facebook jokes, you got to make sure you give equal time to both, so you don't get.
But you know what's odd, and I will say this, and like again, this is not a serious issue. This is a comedy podcast after all. But I will say nothing with policy, nothing with what happened, nothing about people's feelings. But the left can't really meme well. They can't meme, but the right could, and it's down to like the simplest little things, like even the "Let's Go Brandon" thing.
But it's
To
things.
capitalize on that, I saw it said Kamala. No, it said Harris Walls. You know the Harris Walls signs, and they changed it to Harry Balls.
What?
That's like fifth. No, that's like eighth grade. That's eighth.
That's like third grade humor.
That's something on like you would see carved in a detention desk.
Yeah.
Hairy Balls. But I saw it in grown men's yards as I drove by in this town. I saw it said Hairy Balls. They sharpied it out. I thought that was like. I went and then I went. It's kind of funny.
And
Kind of funny.
It kind of.
In
But
like a
there's
fifth
some
grade kind
memes
of way.
that are so bad.
Yeah.
To your point earlier, you don't even maybe support that candidate, but the meme is so funny and it's so inappropriate. You got to laugh.
Like Daddy's home.
Daddy's home.
Like that's kind of funny. I don't know.
They're calling him
Got
Trump Daddy.
that's
now.
what got the frat people.
Do you know what was trending? #1 trend today, this afternoon on Twitter for a short period of time was Trump pump.
That's terrible.
And I
Is
thought-
that this?
And I
Or
thought
is
maybe
this-
it was something to do with the stock market because
One Trump
things are-
pump?
Yeah. No, it's kids all over the country are doing the
right.
YMCA.
Can we? Because I do this on the show often.
The college kids. Go ahead.
I talked about that. Remember the symbol monkey Trump
Right.
Trump on the one episode I talked about it. I actually had an idea. Remember, I had an idea for that. We had it in China. We're talking to China to make them at one point of the dancing Trump.
Yeah.
I wanted it doing the thing with the YMCA song. Just so you all know that we had
Motion
that idea.
activated.
We had that idea in like 2017. For the first Trump, I wanted that.
Why aren't they here?
Because my Uncle Dave, sorry, Uncle Dave again, didn't pull the trigger on this. He had China connections. He was an inventor. I had it designed. It would have been just that dance. Can you imagine just having that on your desk? I would do it 4 times a day. Like if I
know some people that would have it dance and then take it out to the range.
Yeah, sure. But hey, look here. Remember that
that sells.
Elvis's manager sold "I Hate Elvis" stuff.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, if you want to shoot your dancing Trump toy, it's still $40 for me. All I'm saying is Trump pump. I came up with that first, by the way. I came up with dancing Trump first. So enjoy the TikTok trend. But what is your last segue?
We were talking about conspiracy theories and what I believe.
Were we?
And I don't believe in aliens. But do you believe in the elephant portal theory?
Do I believe in the elephant?
Have you heard of the elephant? That's the next town.
The elephant portal theory is a major part of our show, very barely. Did you know that?
What? So you are familiar?
Very familiar, but I don't think our guests or our listeners are.
And I spoke with the guy who developed this theory.
Did you see his website? It used to be really bad and it got better.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at it's based on the church's locations in Oliphant are lined up in perfect symmetry with the Orion constellation.
Yep.
And the center one being, the center star in that constellation is the Jewish temple in Oliphant.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 churches in just a couple block areas. I think there's more churches.
And they're all
eloquent.
They're eloquent. They're very different.
It's a wild theory, and that the anchor, this should be its whole.
This could be a whole episode.
The anchor is like the gateway, because where it points, there's supposed to be an aquifer that goes from. You heard about the aquifer from the Family Dollar,
the last Family Dollar
Bank.
Yeah, me and my best friend Eric talked about this our whole entire lives. There used to be a shaman. We used to call him. Sorry if this is wrong, Eric, but I think his name was Bubba Watson. He would walk around Wegmans and give out pamphlets of this. He'd give out pamphlets. When we were very young, he gave us a handmade pamphlet of this. I mean this. We believe there's a portal.
And it was like a Xerox copy, like old-timey.
There was ketchup on it. Yeah. It wasn't good. It was used. He used it many times. He gave us one.
I've seen that. They used to pass those around.
This guy in particular, I think he was homeless, but he would pass them out, and we got one off him. And we believe there's a portal in Oliphant. Like portals open up in Oliphant all the time. Like if you drive through, when we would drive through, we'd say, "Oh, we just drove through the portal. I hope we don't come out in an alternate timeline." We've been saying that since for 10 years now. We are so in tune with that. We wrote it into the show. It's real. That's real. Oliphant's a weird town.
John Peruka, who is the guy who put this all together, I think he passed in 2020.
I think he just made it all up.
I've met with him personally. I've had conversations with him.
Deceased,
at he passed away a couple years ago. I've had conversations with him at Borders Bookstore in the town of Oliphant, and he believes there used to be this comb dump, this old coal byproduct. It's called comb. It was in the shape of a pyramid. Yeah. And he thinks it was put there to cover the pyramid.
So he's talking like
he thinks that this
Tartaria. What's that?
I'm not sure if it has to do with Tartaria. He thinks that there's a direct connection to Egypt.
Okay.
And the ancient secrets of Egypt are somehow affiliated. And there's a theory.
That's probably right.
That Egypt is in the United States somewhere.
Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah, and there's.
I watch people with full certainty say you can walk to Egypt from the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Now, what do they mean by that?
Is that a flat Earth thing?
I don't know, but I heard several people say it like it was well-known fact. Like, well, everybody knows you can walk to Egypt, and that's why there was like Egyptian artifacts found in the Grand Canyon.
I don't like to walk to the dollar store.
I don't like to either, especially now they have Dollar Tree Plus options. I saw $1.75 items today. I saw $3 items, $4. Nothing is sacred.
At Dollar Tree?
Yeah, Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree, everything's supposed to be $1.
Oh, well, that changed a long time ago. Where have you been? It went to $1.25.
I made a Dollar Tree joke and I got my ass handed to me.
Couple two tree joke.
Is
Is that what you said?
Yeah, a Dollar Two Tree joke. It was about birth control. They had dollar birth control pills for $1. Or no, they had no. What was it? Dollar condoms. I forget.
It was a pregnancy test.
A pregnancy test.
Yes,
oh, you remember that?
You told me this.
Yeah.
I remember.
I said, oh, they got condoms for sale at the dollar store. They're only $1 a piece, and they're conveniently located right next to the pregnancy test, which lends itself to how accurate those condoms really, how effective those condoms are. And people attacked me for
birth control is not funny.
You don't have a vagina. How dare you? You're budget busting. And I'm like,
budget busting. What a
I'm
word.
literally at the dollar store buying shit for $1 because I like a deal. Who doesn't like a good deal?
Yeah.
I'm not budget busting. Did I tell you I drive a Mazda?
I know.
So I drive a busted Mazda. So I'm not budget busting. It was a joke. It was about a dollar store condom.
I know.
Dollar store rubbers are funny.
They are. They work.
But in any event, this olefin portal thing was just fascinating. I learned about it in the 90s, and I talked to John Peruca, and then again in the mid-2000s, he was up at the Borders bookstore, and I got him fired up there.
That's gone too. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Borders is BAM now. It's junk. Who's buying books? Anyone buying books anymore?
Are you saying the Borders aren't open anymore?
Not recently.
What?
Thanks,
Trump.
That's what you call that's an innuendo.
What?
Yeah, Borders used to be open, but it's not now.
Borders is closed.
Well, it's BAM now.
Yeah, that closed in 2016 during his first term.
It reopened temporarily though,
and
now it's closed again.
Yeah,
the economy is finicky. But yeah, no, the olefin portal theory and all that's not even debatable. That's real. So I don't even consider that
the carbon is bullshit. Elephant, that's true. I believe you could walk to Egypt from the Family Dollar in Elephant.
Well, I do see people hanging out around there. It seems to be like a beacon.
There's a
lot of
odd collection of people.
Every town has a couple interesting people. They're always like just walking around.
And if they don't, you're the interesting person.
Yeah, how weird is that? You're like, where's all the weirdos? It's you.
Yeah, it's you.
It's you. So that's very interesting to me. So I hope you all got a good taste of Mike here. This is kind of what it's like at Three Saints Barber.
You were force-fed. What was it? What are we in, about 15 minutes here now?
This is like hours.
Are you
It's
sure?
got to be hours. We're probably at 2. But I want to leave this ending up to some things you may have disagreed with me. Every time you watch my monologue podcast, you go, I had so many things to say to you. I wish you were there. I wish I was there to disagree with you. And I'm just wondering if you had those on the top of your mind.
The most recent one, I think, was the Christmas season one. And you said you were very upset that the Christmas, you need more time for Christmas because everyone knows Christmas begins after Halloween.
It does.
And I wholeheartedly disagree. While that may be the case for the last 10 years, for the last century previous to that, since Christmas was invented, and I'm not talking about
modern American Christmas.
The American Christmas.
Santa Claus.
I'm not talking about the birth of the Christian, the Jesus.
Jesus.
The birth of the Jesus.
The birth of the baby in the
Weird is it
manger.
that Santa Claus and Jesus have the same birthday?
It's quite weird.
Coca-Cola invented Christmas as we know it today. The Santa Claus.
They helped. They didn't invent it.
The capital. Well, they took advantage of a Christian holiday, and the Christians took advantage of a pagan holiday.
Exactly. This is Yule.
This is Yule. And
Yuletime gay.
That's
you
why.
Could say that.
What?
Yuletime gay.
I didn't know that.
You could say gay meant happy when that song.
Right. They're very happy about Christmas. And that's why Santa's in a red and white suit, because it's the Coca-Cola.
You're so wrong.
Wrong. You believe in aliens.
Wrong. Coca-Cola. They did invent the modern depiction of of Santa. Sorry. Coca-Cola invented the modern depiction of Santa Claus, but that white and red comes from mushrooms, man. Do you not know this?
No.
There's a mushroom origin. They believe Santa Claus is a mushroom.
What?
Joe Rogan explains this way better, but I'm going to try. Did you ever hear of
Did you ever celebrate Christmas on DMT?
Well, yeah. Like a DMT trip, they talk about mechanical elves and stuff. Have you ever heard that?
No.
We're going down the conspiracy route, which I did promise. He does not, but I'm telling you, look this up. People experience the same kind of thing on DMT, and they see these elves. So people believe that's where the elves came from. Mushrooms the muscaria, whatever it's called.
Mescaline.
There's one. It's the Mario mushroom. It's like red with the white dots. That's Santa, man. And the reindeer, the caribou in Russia used to get into those and go nuts. They would be prancing around, and people thought they were flying. So all that got merged into the Saint Nicholas myth.
Santa Claus.
Santa Nicholas. That got merged. Russia. It might have been Russian. See, it makes more sense now with Russia. And he would bring kids toys around that time of Yule, maybe. And then you get to America and Coca-Cola wants advertisement and they pick that figure and call it Santa Nicholas, and all those things together give you the modern American Christmas, not Coca-Cola alone, in my opinion.
Semantics. Coca-Cola spearheaded it to make it a revenue-building commercial holiday.
Not without mushrooms.
And it used to be, if you look at the old movies, when did people put up their Christmas tree? And I'm not talking about movies like
Christmas.
I'm not talking about Die Hard.
You're talking like Christmas Eve. They put it up.
They put it up because Christmas was
they put popcorn on
a 4 or 5 day holiday.
Maybe it might have been 2.
And then it expanded back, like it's Thanksgiving, over the river and through the woods. Now it's after Thanksgiving, snow's on the ground. We're going to start thinking about decorating. So for the longest time, it was that month. You had a full month, which was more than you ever needed.
Not enough.
But now
there's 12 days of Christmas.
Fast forward to now that we're not 12 weeks. And now we're in the most commercial
24
time in American history where they need to sell more. How do we sell more? We expand. We have Black Friday deals now, so we expand it back to Thanksgiving. And now there's Amazon days. That started a week or two ago, or
probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel so good though to buy stuff with money you don't have?
No.
It feels so good. You go,
no, there's too much pressure.
The cookies, everything is so nice. I
do enjoy the cookies.
It's comforting. All I'm saying is the world is doom and gloom all the time. Enjoy the Christmas for as long as you could.
All the time.
Enjoy the Christmas as long as you could. Watch The Grinch 47 times.
This is why you're sad. You watch somebody called The Grinch. If you were a robot, you'd be Pessimist Prime. I'm Optimus Prime.
That's pretty funny.
Right? That's our show.
Optimus Prime. That was a pretty... Yeah. See you next week. That was a good joke there. That was a good joke. That's kind of corny, though. Like I had a Dollar Tree joke. I thought you had the same Dollar Tree joke. You had a different one. Mine was like, I really went up on stage once and I was like, yeah, people in this area know the Dollar Tree is not even affordable anymore. I'm like, they should call it the Couple Two Tree. You see, like a couple people did that, but most people.
That's a very regional joke.
There was nothing.
It
was
just
just silent.
Joke. At the shop, I have this big piece of green garland, and I wrapped it up onto coat hangers and fashioned it. Oh, we're backwards on camera. Well, into a number 3.
Okay.
And I hang it on the wall, and nobody says anything. And I think it's hysterical. It's maybe 4 feet high and this wide. And it's just a garland. And everyone's like, why is there a number 3 there? That's for 3 saints, right? I'm like, no, that's our Christmas tree. And they still don't get it. Like, oh, in lieu of an actual tree, you're just putting a 3 there for 3 saints. I'm like,
no.
You don't understand. In this area, in Jessup and Archibald, Oliphant, this greater Mid-Valley, Valley View area, people used to say tree instead of 3. The H was always silent, hence the name of the town. Troop, which is really throop. But we say tree a lot.
Yeah, what's that called? Is there a name for that?
It's called a dialect.
But they call it, is there a term for it?
Coal cracker twang.
It's something like that. Something
the Italians have the Irish to thank for teaching them English, and that's why we have the only place in the world where the original English-speaking Italian spoke English with an Irish brogue.
How weird.
Because
they
in the mines... The Irish already spoke English. The Irish immigrants.
That's freaking rock.
Make sure you wear the helmet for the safety. And now you have Antonio saying safety.
Wow.
And need some film for the camera.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible what happened. No offense to Irish.
But
the food is awful.
They made up for it in beer. They have Guinness.
Yeah, but the food is awful. Italian, the food's great.
Not only
Italian
did
food's phenomenal, but Irish, they have meat and potato, and that's it.
They made a great beer, but they wrote a book that everybody loves to read on the toilet. Guinness. Book of Records is the same company that makes the beer.
Wow.
So you have that from the Irish.
Wow.
But their food.
Food's really bland.
Yeah.
Very mid.
What do you got? Shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie's the best they have.
Bunch of corn, and what else is in there?
Potato. That's it. Potato.
Potato. That's another thing we say around here. The potato.
Ryan Ward, if you're out there watching this, we used to go to a bar you probably know. It's called Andy Gavin's.
I heard of it.
And we would utter this phrase called, it went, Alicia wasn't parking George on the first floor like the harlot of Ireland. And if we said that, we got a free drink. And what that translates to is
Were you kids trick or treating? Because that's like a Halloween thing.
It was kind of like that. This guy would also, this one Brian, if you're watching this, he would also exchange a free drink for a pinch of the creature, he would call it, and it was Irish nasal snuff. It was tobacco, but
remember that.
Yeah, he would say, "I get a pinch of the creature," and I would say, "Yeah," and I always had it. I got it from England.
The creature. It was like a peach.
It was very
essence.
fine.
I remember they used to sell it at a local grocery store, and it was in a little tin about this big.
Yeah,
and it was orange, and it looked almost like
it's very British.
Fine pencil shavings.
It was. That's what the British would do though back in the day.
And they would sniff it in their nose, and it's like you would cocaine, but it was like
it was
peach.
dry. It was brownish. Yeah,
peach essence.
It was very weird. It was fun back in the day, I guess. So I've heard.
I need a pinch of the creature.
That's what he would say. So, I mean, that's the extent of my Irish knowledge. Those two phrases.
You hear a guy say that in a bar, you know?
Yeah, that means something. See, that was back in the day. This is different now.
Would you mind terribly pinching the creature?
See, now things are different. Like, things are always changing. Like now, Christmas is 2 months.
You pinch the creature till he spits back at you.
Pinch the creature for a free drink. Step right up. Step right up.
That's a pickup line.
That is a pickup line. That would work a hell of a lot better than throwing a lantern into a lake.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Did we cover everything, Mike? Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up?
I forgot to take off my jacket. I wanted to show off my...
You know what they say? Jacket off.
Jacket off. During our political segment, our non-political segment, I should have had my... Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Should have had my political... my colonial... What would you call this?
Petticoat. Is that what it's called? A petticoat?
Petticoat?
I think it's a petticoat.
Yeah, I feel very...
You look like you're from
constitutional.
You're from the Revolutionary War and the Civil War and the War of 18.
I feel like I should be wearing a powdered wig.
Yeah, the mustache looks kind of civil.
Can you imagine a political party where you wore wigs?
Yeah, that'd be cool. We should bring the wigs back.
I think so. Some people do.
What if there's a Trump party and everyone wore the yellow hair?
Trump is wearing a wig.
He's not. You're a barber. You know that's an elaborate comb over.
That's an elaborate coif.
Isn't it amazing, though?
It is.
How he's still keeping that going.
It's like cotton candy.
It's great. I feel like it's just, it's an art how he does it. Like, it's got to be 10 steps to get that.
I wonder if I could be his barber. Should I send him a letter?
What would you do to it? Would you do it the same way he does it? Would you recommend him do something else?
Look, if he's paying me, I'll give him what he wants. If he asks me my opinion,
yeah.
But much like this stupid mustache, I know this is out of fashion. I know it's ridiculous. Listen, I hear every mustache joke. Everybody has the same. Oh, you got the porn stash, or you got this. I heard it.
Why is everything a porn stash now?
Every mustache is a porn stash. Like, is that the only porn you watch from 1974?
Yeah, who's watching porn where a guy has a mustache?
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
What's that on 8mm?
Yeah, what the hell?
So,
the Bruder film.
So, Donald Trump, that's become part of his trademark. That's his brand. But if he said, "Look, I need a makeover," what are you going to do? Just take it right down. I don't even buzz it, not buzz, but I put a picture up years ago of what I would do, and it was a Photoshop.
I put a picture up what I would do to Trump. Think about how weird that sounds.
Yeah. But I would take it down like a number 3 on the sides, nice and close.
If you're listening,
whatever is left on top, just enough to, just a gentleman's of his age, just enough to comb over.
Yeah.
And I put when he and Joe Biden were on the debate on television, I was putting Snapchat filters because I really didn't give a rat's ass what either of them were saying, because it's the same shit we've heard over and over. So I'm just sitting there putting Snapchat filters.
Did that too. She wasn't listening, but she was putting filters on.
Oh, look, he's got the puppy ears on him. Oh, he's got a kitten nose. That's adorable. Made Joe Biden look even older.
The old filter on Joe Biden.
It made Donald Trump's mouth look as big as Walls's. Just a wide.
He does have a big mouth,
big,
Walls.
like
And it's like dark. It's like a hole, like a black hole.
it's a portal.
It is.
It's like
See?
old time comic Don Rickles.
Like a
Remember
puppet.
Don Rickles?
Do remember Rickles?
He was like an insult comic.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like Jim Norton now.
Interesting.
But yeah. Yeah, I'd give him a nice shortcut.
If you're
Maybe tell him
listening,
to grow in a beard like,
if he
like
went,
JD Vance
if
has.
he went full bald with a beard, Trump would look pretty cool. Trump 2.0.
I have a picture of it.
That would be kind of cool. What if he had like a slight
I
mohawk?
wonder if I have that.
That'd be kind of
What other kind of haircuts would you give him?
cool. He'd look good with a fade, but I don't know what's going on up top there, you know?
Can you see this?
I can see
turn
that.
that around?
Yeah,
Let
they
the
might
camera
be able
pick
to
it up?
see it. They might. be
This
able
is
to.
a Photoshop's rendering of what I might do. I don't know if that'll pick up.
It will. I'm telling you, they're going to see
Is
that.
the sweet spot right there?
That's the sweet spot.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good bald. Of course,
Yes.
he looks like an evil villain.
Well, this could be his villain arc, as the kids say.
And as funny as that is, when I say evil villain, remember Dr. Evil would say, $1 million? Who
Yeah,
else says 1 million and million and million?
he does.
He goes millions and millions and billions.
Now, I don't get stereotypes, but you look like an evil villain. Why is that?
It's probably the mustache.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, why is that? Why is that mustache evil?
Because Snidely Whiplash, and there was that other
you also look like a vampire.
butt munch. Really?
Yeah,
The undead?
you do look like a vampire. Like if a vampire, like if you had to say draw a vampire, it's probably you.
My wife says that too. She found that old artist rendering of Vlad the Impaler. And it's odd because I am part Romanian. I'm mostly Italian,
You
despite my name. My birth name was Marco Bellapiti.
Wow.
I was adopted by an Irish family who already had a son, Mark. So it would be weird to have a son, Marco and Mark. So they changed my first name to Michael and last name McAndrew. So everyone's like, "Oh, a fine Irishman you are, aren't you?"
No.
Raised, with an adopted Irish father and an adopted, their son Mark is my brother, and but it was in an Italian neighborhood. So I have parts of the Polish culture around here, the Italian culture, and
You
the
like
Irish.
pierogies?
Who doesn't?
Yeah,
It's a perfect food.
yeah.
Why can't they make raviolis that big? That's what I want to know.
Well, they could.
And then
grandma
like
makes
mini
them.
pierogies that are like cappelletis, but you can eat them with a big spoon. Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, dice up some kielbasi in there.
You know, a Pop Tart is a ravioli.
Oh, Pop-Tart.
That's a ravioli, isn't it? Technically,
There's some people
some people
that eat them raw. Can you imagine?
raw Pop Tarts.
Straight out of the box.
I do. I don't always toast them.
Oh, you gotta cook them. You can't eat them raw.
Oh, no way. You dunk cookies in milk? Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, my fiance thinks that's weird.
I'm lactose intolerant now, though. I won't stand for it. I have to drink special milk.
You drink that fake milk.
I drink the lactose milk
That's fake.
and almond milk.
That's not real. You can't milk an almond. You can't milk an almond. I tried.
You cannot.
There's no teat
You need a teat, but the lactose milk is milkable milk.
from
A teat.
whose?
A cow's.
Is it?
Yes.
So it's just they took the lactose out of
They
it.
took the lactose out,
Okay, but yeah, almond milk is just almonds crushed up with sugar.
and it's delicious.
It is. I'm not gonna lie.
It's delicious. You put that in some Frankenberry. That's a fun time.
That is not. You know what I started doing, and this is another idea I'm going to give out because I'm never going to have enough money to patent these anytime soon. Mash up sodas and mash up cereals. I invented.
Wait, you're gonna put soda in cereal?
No, two separate ideas: a mash up soda and a mash up cereal. So like because I always do this. I'll mix the two cereal. I'll put like a little Frankenberry in with a little tricks. But what if it came in the box like that?
No,
And you saw it.
can't because they bastardize it. They tried that with Reese's. You take a box of Reese's Puffs. I've been
Uh-huh.
doing this for years. I'm a cereal aficionado.
You're a serial killer. Okay.
2 cans, son of Sam. So I used to love the peanut butter puffs.
Okay.
I used to love the Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
One day I had a little bit of this one and a little bit of that one.
That's
Not
nice.
enough for a full bowl of each.
Uh-huh.
Mixed them together, and I'm like, oh my God. It was like the Reese's commercial. You got chocolate in my peanut butter. It was amazing. A few years later, General Mills, I believe, comes out with Reese's Peanut Butter Cup cereal, which
Yeah.
is basically Cocoa Puffs and peanut butter puffs. But it sucks. It doesn't suck. It's
I
not as
know.
good as mixing the Captain Crunch peanut butter with the Cocoa Puffs.
But you're not listening. I'm talking about your idea, but just collab where like you see the Trix rabbit with the Reese's guy on the box, and it is both of those in the same bag. And he's doing something to the rabbit, maybe. I don't know. I'm not talking about graphic design of the box right now. I'm saying imagine you got Toucan Sam and the Trix rabbit on the box. Boom, mashup. And the bag has both. And it's a mashup cereal. It's fucking awesome. The soda idea is even better because you would get half Diet Coke, half Coke in the same bottle with a split. And so I can't drink a whole 2-liter a week and it gets flat. No problem. You could have Coke and your wife could have Diet Coke. And then for the daring kids, they open both sides and drink the collab.
You know, they sell 1-liter bottles, right?
Oh, you need the 2-liter.
Why?
Because it's cooler. Because you can drink both at the same time if you want.
That increases cost. You got to put a divider in.
I know. That's why we never did it.
They call that the scrotum.
I know, but I still think it would work.
One side's going to be bigger than the other.
Well, yeah, usually the left. Typically the left. But what I'm saying is just the gimmick alone would be phenomenal. And people would love it. Imagine you get...
People do love a good gimmick.
Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew on one side. Can you imagine? You open it up, you have both. People be calling it names. Dr. Dew. Chug it.
You know what the first cereal I had getting out was? When I was a kid, because in the system, you didn't get real cereal.
You got the Aldi brand, like I like.
No, it was worse. It was something called Puffed Wheat.
Puff Daddy?
And Puffed Rice. And what the Puffed Wheat was, you ever have like those Dig-'em Sugar Smacks?
100%. Yep. The frog.
Imagine them with no coating on it. It's like the same texture as a rice cake.
So you had like government cheese cereal?
Yes.
Okay.
With condensed milk, powdered milk.
Powdered milk. How'd you activate the powdered milk?
They would, the penguins would. The nuns, I don't know, the food people would, and it would come in these pitchers, and you would have the cereal, and it was like, if you crushed up an unflavored rice cake, put it in a bowl with powdered milk.
Bad though. Probably not.
Dude,
bad.
it's terrible. I'm not talking about the ranch flavored rice cakes or the apple cinnamon rice cakes. I'm talking about plain unflavored. It's like eating a styrofoam peanut.
But it's healthy.
Now imagine getting out, and you're in a.
What'd you pop your cherry with?
Fruit Brute.
What?
Fruit Brute.
What's that?
No, you didn't hear
No, dude, that's born 98.
It's one of the monster cereals. It's one of the originals.
They got rid of that one.
They had they brought it back a couple years ago. So they got the Booberry.
Boobberry?
Booberry.
You can't say Booberry.
Dingleberry. They got the Frankenberry.
Dingleberry chocolate.
You got the guy who they used my image as
Count Chocula.
Count Chocula. I got a hairline like Count Chocula. And one of the other ones was Yummy Mummy and Fruit Brute.
But they got rid of those two. They're like the reject McDonald's characters.
Fruit Brute was lime, cherry lime.
What?
And he was this werewolf.
I didn't know that.
And I can't remember the motto. It was something pertaining to monster, whatever.
Damn.
But it was.
I didn't know any of this.
Now imagine being 7 years old, 8 years old, and you get a bowl of this delicious goodness, and I'm like, it's just wired.
You're like, I'm going to be chasing this high.
Greatest thing ever.
You're going to chase that high for the rest of your life.
I have been.
I
have been.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. But yeah, I became a cereal aficionado. I fell so in love with cereal.
God damn.
So I have a different appreciation of things because I experienced this thing at an older age than most kids. Most kids, 5, 4, they get a little taste of some junk cereal as a treat.
Yeah.
Man, I was 8.
Yeah, that was a long time, man.
Yeah, like Christmas, Santa, you get toys.
I know. So you have a
There we go, toys for you. That was like the Meister Burgermeister was the one that was.
Yeah. God damn.
Penguins I lived with.
So when would they sit on your face, before or after the cereal?
Yeah, no, that wasn't on my face.
Oh.
I was punished. I was out in the playground, and a dog had left a little mess. And it's amazing the things you remember.
So a dog shit.
And I was fascinated by it.
You went
because it was shaped exactly. Remember animal crackers?
Oh, of course, I had them today.
And then the little train car they come in.
Yeah, I didn't have them in the train car.
They used to come in this little red box.
I do remember that though,
with the handle on it, and then it was like a little bus or a train car, and there was the elephant, and it had the 2 legs that came down and the trunk. Well, this dog made a poo that just reminded us all of the animal cracker, elephant.
Okay.
We weren't allowed to say certain words. For whatever reason, it was the late 60s, early 70s. For excrement, our word was cocky.
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 It happens. I heard that before.
So
Caca.
the whistle blew. We had to get inside. Everybody's running inside. And I am elated. I'm ecstatic. I am so fired up. It's one of those things that was so funny. You're not supposed to laugh at it, but you're
Like,
gasping. And, you're 5 years old. That's hysterical. And what's wrong with that dog's? And it took me years to understand why I got punished. For the longest time, I didn't know why. And I had to sit and think about it and replay it in my head.
And she sat.
And the best thing I could think of is, in my excitement, I didn't complete the word cocky. And I started screaming, that dog's cocky is amazing. It looks like an elephant's trunk. This nun
That's the best joke I've ever in my life.
Skull. It's not a joke. This is
That could be such a joke.
She skull dragged me back to my bunk, threw me, slapped the ever-living nonsense out of me.
God.
And I'm still kind of laughing. I was crying, laughing. And she threw me down on my bunk and sat on me. I was face down, and she sat on my back. And every time I would gasp, more air would come out, and I couldn't inhale more. And down and down, and I felt myself blacking out.
Really?
And I remember
She almost killed you.
she almost did. And she was, at the same time, she was pounding away at me.
Holy
I
shit.
should rephrase that. She was beating me mercilessly.
Holy shit.
And it was all, and all this time I'm like, I guess I can't talk about dog poop.
I know. You thought it was the poo.
It was but it was the way I expressed it in my 5-year-old excitement that dog's cock looked just like an elephant with the trunk and the.
That's just a misinterpretation.
It was a whole comedy of errors that I almost died from that.
That would be a weird, Strange Way to Die's episode, or 1,000 Ways to Die.
1,000 Ways to Die. And you know what? In the system, like, they would just say, I don't know what happened.
They would say he fell at recess.
They would put me on the floor and lay a dress around me and say, something must have happened.
With your arm like behind your back, like a Family Guy.
Why does he have a big smile on his face? He's still thinking about that dog.
He was such a happy kid. Yeah, that's why.
And we're talking about poo stuff.
Wow. Well, you said none and poo. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, that's maybe where the phrase came from.
That's probably where it came from that day. That was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Truly, the way you told that could be a stand-up joke. When you decide to come back to comedy, I do think things are looking good for comedy. I think things are looking real good for podcasts, considering the Joe Rogan popularity. He had JD Vance, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump on.
Got like 80 million subscribers. Can you imagine?
Yeah, like I said, I think mainstream media is truly dead. You're going to see that take a weird curve in the next 4, 10, 20 years. This podcast, a lot of people don't understand it yet because I only get a little bit of viewers at this time, but it could grow into something pretty insane. So it's looking good for comedy. It's looking good for podcasts. It's looking good for country music. And it's looking good for barbers. So I think we're in a good spot. No one's not getting their hair cut. And
you got to get your hair cut in every economy.
You do. That's the one thing. You're never going to sacrifice looking shitty. You've got to get your hair cut. And if you are looking for some place to get your hair cut, please go to 3 Saints Barbershop. If you like this conversation today, you can expect the very same type of conversation to happen in your 30-minute session.
This is me 70 hours a week at the shop. This is what I do all day. And in the meantime, I'm combing your hair, I'm clipping, and I'm snipping a little bit. I love my job.
100%.
Find somebody who loves their job to cut your hair.
And he's on all the time. Like, he's never off. Like, you never go in there one day and he's like a little quiet or not really talking. He's always on, just like this show. So with that being said, do you have anything else?
I'm good. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed being on here.
For coming.
It's been about 20 minutes on
this
here?
This has been like hours. I think it might be tomorrow. It might be midnight. Might hit midnight. Just kidding. But thank you for coming on, Mike. This was an awesome episode. Mike will surely be on again, and he will always be the sponsor. Until next time, stay curious, my friends. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.